There were so many signs leading up to the first year I competed for Miss Hawai'i that kind of indicated that I wasn't going to win. Remind yourself to start off on the foot of aloha. And if they are not aloha, then you don't have to be... No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and then you bust out
then you scrap. Unlike my sisters who were very good students, I would get, report cards saying like, oh, Lauren doesn't pay attention in class. And it was really because I couldn't stop moving. I had like one of those really energetic bodies where I was like always tapping or like trying to like get out of my seat. I used to take a bite of food and like I had to stand up and like dance as I was chewing. I mean, I think it's to make my family proud.
I'm sure
that literally came out like Mulan. Like,
did you? Where's a bowl of water so she can look down into her reflection?
I know.
Velina mai kako, welcome to Keep It Aloha, a podcast that keeps it aloha by bringing a Ziploc bag of uncooked crushed ramen to school to snack on. I'm your host Kamaka, and I got mine right over here for later. I just don't have a Ziploc bag, so if anybody can send me a Ziploc bag, that'd be really nice. Throw that over there for Jordan. I just want to give a shout out to my Patreon supporter Jordan H for inspiring that opening line. If you want to be just like Jordan and support myself and this podcast, head over to patreon.com/kamakadias. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave us reviews on Apple Podcasts and Spotify if you love this podcast. Okay, let's introduce our guest. This podcast is brought to you by Ideate Studios, a for-rent commercial soundstage at the Entrepreneur Sandbox here in the heart of Kaka'ako. Whether making a movie, commercial, music, photography, or a podcast, check out Ideate Studios for your next digital media production. And if you're a nonprofit, be sure to ask about Ideate community discounts. For more info on Ideate or to book the studio, visit ideatestudios.org. Our guest today is the current Miss Hawai'i 2022 from the island of Oʻahu. She is a teacher, journalist, news reporter, freelance writer, and performer. With her Miss Hawai'i win last year, she and her sister became the first sisters to win the Miss Hawai'i competition. During her reign, she traveled all over spreading her message of Arts for All, a program that brings the arts into the classroom to help kinesthetic learners succeed in school. This dessert enthusiast and sushi lover will be crowning the next Miss Hawai'i soon, and I am so stoked she is here today to talk stories with us. Her name is Lauren Teruya. Aloha, Lauren. Welcome to the podcast here at Ideate Studios. How are you doing?
Aloha, Kamaka. Thank you. That was a good intro. You got everything in there. Dessert enthusiast as well.
I saw that somewhere. Yeah. Is that true?
Oh, true. I will eat dessert for breakfast every day, any day.
Now it makes sense because I saw your story in Japan saying, or your post saying that you ate ice cream for breakfast.
Yep, literally this morning.
Nice.
I had dessert for breakfast.
Nice. Is that healthy? Is that recommended in the nutrition guide?
There's a balance between health and happiness, and it always meets somewhere in the middle.
Definitely, yeah. I'm a big dessert guy too, so I totally understand that. But mahalo for coming in today, and it's good to see you not in a workout outfit or just like Miss Hawai'i attire.
Yeah, we're right in the normal range today.
I didn't know you were capable of just being a normal person. That's
I know,
so
it's funny. Some people always see me like sweating, dripping in my workout clothes, and then the complete opposite with like a crown on.
I know,
high
it's
heels.
crazy. Yeah, so I first met Lauren when my girlfriend and I were taking classes at Yoga Room. She's an instructor over there. And then we started talking stories, and I'm like, oh yeah, you're Miss Hawai'i.
And I was like, oh yeah, you have like this awesome podcast.
Yeah. So from that time on, you're on my radar. And then it just made sense with the timing because soon you'll be relinquishing your crown and giving it to the next person.
Yes,
super exciting.
We are like a week away almost.
Yeah.
So we're in the thick of things. It's all coming, like all the emotions are coming up of the whole year. And I've actually had a couple bonus weeks. It's been a little bit over a year.
They pushed it back
so normally Miss Hawai'i takes place at the beginning of May, but this year it's at the beginning of June.
Oh, so, okay. They loved you so much they couldn't get rid of you.
Hopefully that's the reason.
Yeah. But we got a lot to get into, and I know you got a very snazzy hair appointment after this or something you got to get to.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't happen often in the ends. I swear I have to always get a little chop here and there.
Yeah. And because like I said, you're going to be presenting the crown to the next winner, And by the time this episode comes out, we'll know who the winner is already.
I know.
I'll be there. I'm really excited. I've never been to a Miss Hawai'i competition, so I'm really excited to see how it goes down.
You've never been to
Is it like a hockey match? Are there fights? Because I'm really hoping for that.
No. I mean, you've never watched a pageant in your life?
I watched it on TV, not in person.
In person.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I'm very excited for you.
Yeah, I'm excited. But let's start at the beginning. Let's get to know you a little bit more. Where are you from? Where you grad? And what was it like growing up?
So I'm here from Oʻahu, from Townside. I went to Iolani School and I graduated. Did you say the year?
No, but you can tell us that. Yeah.
Wait, what was the last part?
Just where you grad? Oh, and what was it like growing up?
Oh.
You don't have to say your grad year because you're going to make me feel old.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're not that old.
I bet you don't know when I graduated.
Yeah, you're right. When did you graduate? Tell me.
I graduated in 2011.
2011.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You look like a baby.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to be young forever.
I'll be fair. I graduated in 2017.
Okay.
Does that make you feel that old? Nah.
I don't feel old. And I don't know if other people can relate to this because I think my 3 years when I was in Madagascar, it's like time stopped. So I feel like 27, I guess.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll accept it.
Yeah. So what was your childhood like? How did you end up getting into all the performing arts?
Oh, so I have 3 sisters now, but growing up, it was mostly just me and my 2 older sisters. And I mean, I think you have so many siblings. So growing up was very much surrounded by my sisters, and they were really big inspirations to me since I was the little one of the group. Constantly, trying to do what they do. So my sisters were dancers. My oldest sister has always been involved in hula. My other sister was in jazz. So naturally, I gravitated toward performing arts. It also helps that we were all really bad at sports, like really bad. I had a phase where I was like, I can do this. I signed up for football camp and tried to do volleyball for a minute, tried to run. And I would always get injured, and not even cool injuries. I would sprain my finger or twist my ankle.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting because you're a dancer, and I feel like dancing takes so much coordination.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Huh.
But for some reason, it doesn't translate, at least not in my body. And I just fell in love with performing from a very young age, so 3 years old. And that's really when I started to do ballet and jazz and hula. And it kind of translated as I grew up. It became even more of a passion as I started to get older. And, in school, I didn't quite love school. I wasn't the best at any of the subjects, and this is kind of what inspired Arts for All. Unlike my sisters who were very good students, I would get, report cards saying oh, Lauren doesn't pay attention in class, or she has trouble focusing, or she seems to, be in her own world. And it was really because I couldn't stop moving. I had one of those really energetic bodies where I was always tapping or trying to get out of my seat. I remember when I was younger, I used to take a bite of food and I had to stand up and dance as I was chewing. And then I'd sit down, get another bite, get back up, dance.
Immediate calories and energy right there.
I had so much energy. My great grandma used to always say, full of energy. And that's kind of when I realized my love for the arts was maybe even ingrained in who I was. It was a calling. So when I finally started to take the arts more seriously as a passion, as a study, that's when I feel like I really started to flourish and find myself and, recognize that I could be intelligent and I could contribute in the classroom. I just needed to understand the foundation of who I was first, and that all came from involvement in the arts.
Yeah, and you just had to focus on your strengths. I think that's one thing the school system doesn't do a good job at, is that they make you do things even though you're not good at it, or they force you to do things, and they think if you're bad at it, it's just because you're dumb. Instead of trying to just find different ways, because people learn differently. You're a kinesthetic learner. Some people like to read. Some people
visual, audio,
need a little bit more leadership. Some people are self learners. So it just depends, and it's about finding that environment that suits you. Because like I mentioned this before, diamonds don't shine underground in the dark, right?
Yeah.
So it's not until you put them in the right environment they sparkle.
Yeah. What would you consider yourself?
I think I'm more hands-on.
Hands-on,
like,
yeah.
I don't like reading and listen. I mean, I listen, but I like.
Says
yeah.
I don't like reading.
I like doing things. I mean, I played sports all my life, so me learning was somebody showing me how to kick a ball, how to throw a football, how to make a tackle, how to catch a ball. So I like that stuff. And I went to Hawaiian immersion school where everything was hands-on, small classes. You're out learning things. And, there's the classroom portion of it, but also we have to hula and do chants and whatever. And I wasn't into that stuff.
Interesting.
But I wasn't interested in what they were teaching, but I was interested in the style of teaching. And for me, all I cared about was finishing school and then going to play sports, right?
There's always got to be a little incentive. And I don't think that's a bad thing, right? Like I couldn't be in shows if I didn't get a certain grade. Like that was my parents' rule. Like you can be out at night till 10 o'clock at the theater with a bunch of adults if you keep your grades up. So I think there is really, there's a strength in having incentive to do things.
Definitely. I got my PlayStation 2 when I was third grade because I got straight A's.
There we go.
Yeah, I think I had to save up half and then my parents would cover the other half or something like that. But yeah, incentives. And were your parents super strict? Did you grow up in one of those like super strict Asian households?
I will say if I had to identify as being brought up with a singular culture, which is difficult in Hawaii, but for myself, I would say it was a predominantly Japanese household. I wouldn't say my parents are super they're a little strict or very. I would say my mom kind of just reminds me of the typical tiger mom in the sense that she just wants to be really protective. She wants to make sure that, we succeed in school, we do well so that, she can set us up for as many opportunities as she can in the future. Like, she wants to know where I'm at 10 o'clock at night to this day.
I was going to ask, even till now.
Yeah, it's like you're never too old to check in with mom.
Yeah, definitely.
But even from the food to, the culture, my great-grandmother was Buddhist, so I remember going over to their house every weekend and praying with her. Rice with every meal, but I would say it's difficult. I feel like there's also so many other cultures. My dad is Chinese, so he brings in another culture that side, and altogether I think I have like 8 different ethnicities. Yeah.
And then Hawaii is a melting pot of so many different cultures, ethnicities, and influences. So it's hard to really grasp onto one thing or just be influenced by one thing, especially when you go out to school, hang out with your friends, and like it gets confusing sometimes.
Yeah, and I think that's also what unites us in Hawaii, right? Like I think back to my ancestors, right, coming from China and Japan. Both my great-grandmothers were actually picture brides. So they came to Hawaii with a photograph of their husband that they were to marry and to have children with and work on the plantation. And like that's an enormous leap of faith. But if you look back at pretty much everybody here in Hawaii's history, it all starts with just hard work, humble beginnings, like the same sacrifices. And I think maybe that's why, my mom is, and generationally, maybe Asian culture is a little bit more strict because they have given up so much for us to succeed. And I think they just really want that to happen. They're like, please succeed.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they laid the foundation and they did all this hard work just so you could have this great life. I shared a couple episodes ago, the ancestral mathematics. I don't know if you've ever seen that, where it's like 2 grandparents, 4 grandparents, 16, they go all the way to like 2,096 great, 9th great grandparents. So about 4,000 people, in your family that struggled, that, set you up for this life, so it goes all the way back.
Right. That's an immense amount of like gratitude that I'm fueled with, but also in a way, some type of pressure. I really do want to make sure that I succeed and that I try my best and I make them proud because I know they're watching over.
Yeah.
So I do carry that with me. And I think it can be a strength very much so, like with Miss Hawai'i and everything that feels maybe daunting. Just like remembering that even though I am, one person, we're not ever alone.
Yes, for sure. So did you feel the pressure to win even more because your sister competed before and she won, and then you're the youngest and you kind of want to make your parents proud?
Oh yeah. I mean, I feel like in a way, and Catherine would love this, my older sister that won, I've always followed in her footsteps. Like anything she did, I wanted to do. Like she did karate, I did karate. Like she did ballet, I did ballet. Like she did jazz, I did jazz. So in a way, I've always kind of been like, ooh, what can I do that she did? And so when the opportunity to run for Miss Hawaiʻi came up, I was like, do I want to do this? Oh, because before she had actually, our introduction to the pageant world was Miss Hawaiʻi Teen USA. So we have been in the other pageant system that you often get confused with.
It's I got it now, right? It's Miss Hawaiʻi USA doesn't have a talent. And it's just like a pageant. Miss Hawaiʻi has the talent and it's scholarship based.
Bam!
Got it. See, I learned.
There we go.
Since the True Sisters.
There we go. Yeah. So we definitely know the True Sisters too. But yeah, me and my sister have always been kind of connected in that way. So when she won Miss Hawaiʻi Teen USA, I decided to run as well. And so we both share that title as well.
Oh, wow. Double.
And then she won Miss Hawaiʻi. And then I really wanted to win Miss Hawaiʻi after I finished college. So I graduated in 2021. And that's when, college. And then that's when I decided, okay, I think I want to try this. I didn't win my first time like Catherine.
Because you were following in her footsteps.
Right. And of course I was disappointed, right? There's a part of you that feels like, letting people down, and a lot of people invest time, and, there's everything, time, money, energy, everything. So of course I felt, disappointed at first, but as I grew throughout the year after that, I realized what a blessing it was that I didn't win. And there were so many signs leading up to the first year I competed for Miss Hawaiʻi that kind of indicated that I wasn't going to win. There were people who would come up to me and be like, wow, like, you don't seem like yourself. You seem very stressed. And I was. I was so focused on everything else around me. All the other girls competing with me. And I was thinking like, ooh, I'm not smart enough, or I don't have this degree, or I feel like she might be better at this than me. And I didn't even focus on what I was doing to prepare myself, that the otherness was consuming me. And all I could feel was like envy and jealousy and fear, like everything that you don't want to feel when you're trying to be your most brilliant self. And it physically came out. Like I injured my neck to the point where I could barely stand.
Wow.
And if you're in a pageant, you're like walking like the hunchback. Like it doesn't look that cute.
Yeah.
And so every night I would do like Lomi Lomi healing the week of Miss Hawaiʻi. Luckily, I was able to get to the point where I could stand and actually compete. But I think that year was a huge lesson to learn about the power of your mind and what you can do for yourself. Like the type of energy that I was putting out was so negative, was so fear-based, that it came back to bite myself. And I had to learn over the next year that it was all about putting in the love outside of you, right? About focusing on how incredible the other women around me were. And so I think that's what made the huge world of a difference a year later, is I came back wanting to succeed and wanting to succeed alongside everyone with me. And I think, for women, and especially growing up with 3 sisters now, it's hard not to feel a little bit of this competitive energy, right? Like, oh, I want to do this better, or I want to succeed more. But when you actually take that energy and decide to do it as a whole, it becomes like a jillion times more powerful.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that's the secret weapon that I finally learned when I competed for Miss Hawaiʻi the second time.
Definitely. I mean, community over competition.
Right.
That's something that I always think about. I mean, in any space, podcasting, pageantry, business. I mean, sometimes in business you have direct competition, and that's a little bit more understandable. But in Hawaii, at least, we can all succeed.
Right.
You know? Sometimes there's these competitions where there's a winner and a loser, you know, on paper. But there's so much things that you can get out of it and so much experience that you can gain. A lot of intangible things. Intangible? Intangible. Intangible. Okay, cool.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah. And, you know, I just feel like sometimes people are so focused on, you know, just the competition and like being better instead of just making themselves better and not worrying about everybody else. Because what you bring to the table, people are going to like it or not like it. And it doesn't matter if somebody's doing something good or bad. You know, whatever you're doing, that's what people are going to gravitate towards if it speaks to them, you know? So if they like our podcast, great. If they want to go listen to another podcast, that's awesome. But you know, we can all work together. There's enough space for all of us to succeed. Miss Hawaii's a little different. There can only be one winner every single year. But like you said, losing wasn't the worst thing for you. And it happens in a lot of athletes as well. You know, the undefeated athletes that never, ever lost. They get their first loss, and that's the biggest lesson they ever learn.
Right? It's so important to experience not getting exactly what you want.
Yeah.
Because it helps you center and focus in on what you do want. You know, maybe losing is a blessing because you realize you never even wanted it in the first place. Or maybe it's to remind you how badly you want it and how you want to do it different next time and come back even stronger. So, I mean, even in my life in theater and performance, it's never always been a yes. And so it's a constant reminder. Like, I think rejection can be a very beautiful thing because it allows you to dig deep inside and say, hey, do I really want to do this? Or is this something I can live without?
Yeah. What has been your biggest rejection? Would it be like losing Miss Hawaiʻi? Would you count that as something?
Well, I would say that the theater world, it is difficult in many ways. When I first got into acting and performance, I was very attached to Diamond Head Theater. To me, that was like the Broadway of Hawaii. And I would have done anything to be on that stage. So I started auditioning. And it was really challenging because I was still a kid. I was like 9 years old when I first started auditioning. And to get a phone call saying like, oh, sorry, but you know, you're not experienced enough, or you're not tall enough, or you don't look like the mom we casted. Just little things that maybe you have no power over. I think that is a difficult rejection. But then you learn that there's beauty in that. And there's so much beauty in being right for the casting so that when you do get it, it feels like this is meant to be. So I think learning that from a young age really helped me throughout, you know, struggles later in life, because I learned that some things are not just not meant to be, and that's okay. And I'm very grateful for my life on stage for teaching me that.
Awesome. Did your time in the performing arts, did it continue into college as well? So you went to USC, right? Yeah, and then you majored in journalism?
Yeah, so actually, that's a fun question. So I auditioned for college. I was very serious about performing my sophomore, junior year in high school, and I was like, I want to do this. Like, I either want to be on Broadway, or I want to like be in Hollywood or something.
Yeah, or like go to Juilliard.
Yes, I was like fully committed. So I spent my entire
pointed over here, like Juilliard's right over
here, right down the street,
right behind this wall.
So I fully auditioned for colleges, like traveling. I went to New York, California, auditioning for different schools that had like top musical theater programs and screen acting programs. I was at the end of everything choosing between USC's like acting program or NYU's musical theater program. So it was like two complete different sides of our country. And I decided to go with USC because I was like, okay, well, they have both, right? They have musical theater. They also have this huge booming film industry, and it would be great to explore both. But as I continued my first year in college, I guess I don't know what it was, but I guess I felt like there were so many incredibly talented people that could never see themselves do anything else. Mm-hmm. And I looked at myself and I was like, well, I love so many things. Like, I love storytelling. I love talking to people. I love being rooted in communities. It doesn't always need to be on stage for me to be happy. And that's when I decided to pivot my sophomore year. Mm-hmm. I could see myself in journalism as well, like talking to people every day, connecting with people from different parts of our worlds. And so I got a dual degree at USC at the end of everything, specializing in journalism mostly.
Okay. Is a dual degree the same as a double major, or?
So I got both my bachelor's and master's degree in journalism.
Oh, okay.
And
nice.
I don't know, honestly, maybe that's not what a dual degree is, but
hey, it is now.
That's what I'm calling it.
It is now. Wow. And so what was your time like in California? Coming from Hawaii and then moving there with the difference of culture. I know there's a lot of Mexican influence over there. Were you able to relate a lot to the minority coming from Hawaii, which we are a minority living here?
Right. I think it was my first time maybe even seeing myself as Asian or like as ethnic or different.
Yeah.
I'd never really even thought about race before I went to college. And then all of a sudden you get people at like career fair day or like what is it called? That day where you try to enter all the clubs.
Yeah.
And people are like AAPI club, like Hawaii club. Like there's all these different clubs.
Oh,
and
you'd look like, great for the Japanese American club.
So I think that was the first time where it even was a thought to me, because we're just so, like you said, Hawaii, we're just this like amazingly beautiful, rich, culturally wonderful place that I never thought of it as, I never even thought of it as special, because everyone's connected regardless here. So I think that was the only difference. But luckily I felt like California had everything that was familiar. It wasn't a huge shock like how I felt when I went to the East Coast, which was a huge part in the decision making for me. I just felt like, there were still lots of really cool cultural different places like Koreatown, there's Little Tokyo, there's, Little Italy, there's, I don't know, there's all these different places.
Lil Wayne, Lil Jon.
There we go.
Lil Durk.
The only difference is that it was very like segregated versus here, right? It's like you kind of go anywhere, like the Vietnamese shop is right next to like the mom and pop.
That is what I hear.
Shop. Yeah. So I think that was the only really big difference. I had a lot of fun until, of course, like the pandemic hit, and then I actually moved to Wyoming, and that's when I really experienced like cultural difference.
Wait, so you were getting your master's, or you were finishing up your bachelor's in 2020 in
my bachelor's and master's, yeah. So
you did it at the same time?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing.
It was a thing.
So that's the dual. That's where the dual comes in.
Maybe. Yeah. And again, I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, but USC in particular has this thing where if you have like just a few credits left of your bachelor's degree, you can continue on to your master's. So I was able to complete everything in 4 years because I took the maximum amount of credits I possibly could every single semester because I was just so interested. I was like, wow, there's this class and this class and this class. I think I've always been one of those people that kind of enjoyed everything. I took the most random classes. I was talking to you a little bit earlier. I took like a GIS class, a mapping class. Like one time I was like, maybe I should go into computer science or I should go into film. I took like an editing film class. I took a class in almost every school at USC. They have different like segregated schools. And I was like, oh, okay, I want to try film class and I want to try all these different places. So I was definitely soul searching, and still to this day, I think I just enjoy a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's cool that you got to have this platform as Miss Hawai'i to do all these different things and incorporate all of your strengths and talent into this one title. You know, because you with the arts for all, right? Is that what it's called? Arts for all. You were able to incorporate a lot of, you know, leadership, performing, teaching, all these other things that you just built up in your repertoire, and to share it with the rest of the world. I don't know how far you went, but I mean, I know you went at least to Japan. That's a part of the world.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all built on passion. Like I started in high school, just realizing that there are a lot of public elementary schools that didn't either have an arts teacher, or a lot of people were just doing it, you know, pro bono, and it was out of like the kindness of their heart. And I was always wondering, like, wow, that was such a huge part in my growth, my discovery of self. I hope that every child has that opportunity. So even when I was in college, I actually did 2 summer camps in Japan, where you work with their kids in these different, it's called the Sports Camp of America. So some of it is like very American sports based, but they also have this kind of like Glee time. And a lot of them actually don't even speak English. It's a complete immersion of American and Japanese culture at the same time. It's a really cool program. And in that time alone, I also recognize the power of the arts. Like, it's a way to communicate regardless of even if you speak the same language. And we did this benefit camp in Rikuzen, Takata. It was that small town that was devastated by the 2011 earthquake and tsunami. Remember when Japan just got bombarded?
Yeah, I remember that.
It was like earthquake, tsunami, and then like radiation everywhere because, right? It was just so devastating. But their town in particular was really affected because of the way the town was like shaped was like a toilet bowl. So the way the water like hit the mountains, it almost like swooped the entire town away.
Wow.
Like almost everyone in the town has somebody that they lost. But when I learned when I was there was that there was one tree standing out of like 70,000 pine trees, like one tree standing. And like, what a way to think about resilience of community and culture. And they thought of that as their miracle tree. And that's what, you know, continues to stand today, as that one tree, and it represents hope and resiliency. And I think, you know, even being able to communicate that regardless of speaking the same language is something that just continuously comes to life in my eyes. Every time I travel, every time I'm connecting with people, I always feel like the arts brings it together.
For sure. I mean, I can relate in that sense with sports. You know, you don't have to speak or understand what's going on when you're just watching the underdog play against, you know, the biggest, baddest team, and they win. And then, you know, it's this story of courage and hope and strength. And then you get that feeling. I mean, even like Iam Tongi, right? The American Idol. So congrats to him once again.
Congrats, Iam.
You don't need to know the songs he's singing or even understand the words. I mean, you look at his last performance of the Kolohekai song, Cool Down. It's like a 3-strum song or whatever. And the judges were loving it. The crowd, they were loving it. Everybody loved it.
Yes.
And it didn't matter that he was just singing a local Hawaiian song. It's just the way he was performing and connecting with people. That's what captivated everybody. And, you know, we can do that through kinesthetic learning, whether that's art, sports, music, whatever.
Absolutely.
So I totally get it.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that, actually. I know that you kind of pulled together a lot of artists during that time, right before finals night for EM, or right before he was about to come home.
Yeah, top 3.
What was that like? Like, kind of getting,
Hectic.
hooing everyone up together. That's so awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it was just super cool. It started with this idea I had because, you know, that video during the pandemic that came out with all the celebrities, Iman and all the people.
Yes.
And I was like, wow, it would be really cool if we did that. Because I was talking with, how's this guy, Xavier? He was saying that Brenton contacted him about this or the event, and he was just asking, we were just talking stories, thinking of ideas, how we can help out. And I brought up that idea, and I was originally going to try to do it with him, but he got busy. And then I was reaching out basically to all my podcast guests, right?
Oh, there we
so
go.
Kimie, Paula, Anuhea, Kalani Pea, all of them. Kalani couldn't do one, but he's still awesome. And then I didn't realize how big the project was, because I was thinking like everybody just take a video of you singing one line, right? I thought that's how easy it was gonna be, but apparently it's a lot more difficult than that. And so I changed the words, to make it about Iam and take them back to Kahuku and stuff. And then I was contacting artists, like sending so many messages out. This was also last minute.
Right.
As well. So I didn't know,
like on a huge time crunch.
I didn't know if we'd be able to pull it off. And then Kimie was at Imo Garza, everybody knows Imo, he's a legend. And I was talking stories with them, and he told me that they've done this before for churches. And I don't know if you've ever seen the Mana Maoli videos where everybody's singing like the different songs, Hawaii 78, whatever
I think like Kamehameha graduation too, when it was like on Zoom, I saw like them all do a huge performance, but it was virtual. It was amazing. Yeah, so the coordination of that, like, unreal.
Yeah, people don't realize how hard it is.
Right?
I mean, like within 72 hours, luckily Kimi and Imua, they put things on the side and they decided to help me out. We had to get funding for this because it wasn't free, just because it was such a time crunch. So we had to pay people to do it. Not the artists, everything they did it all for free, but like production, and then contacting people till 3 a.m, setting things up, and then Imua Garza finishing work or family stuff at 10 p.m, and then getting into the studio and working on a reference track for other artists, and then sending that out. I sent my last email like 3 a.m, waited to collect everything the next day, and then our editor stayed up to like 4 a.m. the last day trying to get it all together. And it was amazing. Just like Jasmine Trias had a concert in Vegas. She finished at 12, and she just found out about that. She went right to her studio at midnight, recorded it. Jake Shimabukuro, he saw the text about this thing. He came over to Imua Garza's studio at like midnight and recorded it. Just everybody dropped everything to go support Iam, and it was just the coolest thing ever. And I didn't even realize until listening back to the Kelly Boy de Lima episode, the guy from Kopena.
I love Kelly Boy.
Yeah, and how he was saying that like Paula contacted him, Jasmine Trias contacted him, and I didn't even realize. In my head, I was like, this is a cool way to bring everybody together, spread the word about Iam, and just do something really fun. But I didn't realize that it was also connecting these musicians with each other. I'm sure they knew of each other, but they never really talked. So Kelly Boy was talking to Jasmine now, we're talking with Paula, and it was so cool. And I was just blessed to be a part of that. And huge shout out to Kimi and Imua for spearheading that with me.
Yeah, but also just the idea and pulling it together.
I'm the idea guy.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah, I saw that and I was like, wow, I can't even imagine the type of work behind that, but it's a superpower of yours.
See, I was thinking about the idea of hardworking. You know how some people are like, oh, you're always working hard, or such a hard worker. I don't know if I'm necessarily a hard worker. I think I just work a lot. I think it's really, because when I think of hardworking, I'm thinking of like construction people and like sweating and doing
that's hard
physical
work.
labor. That to me that's hard work. I just feel like for the creative side, and maybe you can relate to this too, it's just I'm just thinking a lot. I'm just always constantly
the wheels are turning.
Like, there's just always stuff going on in my head, and I'm always writing things down, contacting people, talking with people, just working. And it's kind of like light work in a sense. So I just feel like that like the 10,000 hour stuff, right? You put in 10,000 hours, you become an expert. So I think just like consistency and working a lot equates to hard work. Yeah,
I would agree with that. And I totally understand the definition, or like the physical imagery of somebody working hard. But I think a lot of us that are in more creative spaces, it's like a passion. But it's like a passion, but it's also our line of work. And so you can't help but like 12 o'clock at night or 1 and you can't sleep and you're thinking about that one story or that one person or how you're going to cut something or film something. And it just, it won't let you sleep because you really want to see your vision come to life.
Oh, it was like Christmas. I couldn't wait to see the edit the next day. I couldn't sleep.
And it was amazing. It was amazing. And so many people saw it and shared it and loved it. And I bet you have to feel a part of his win too, right?
Oh,
like in so many,
sure,
he is Hawaii. Like I feel like it was a great way to bring so many people together.
Definitely. I mean, so much pride. I think just here we have this huge amount of pride in people from here, even though we don't know them, right?
Right.
It's like whether that's athletes or if I'm just say I'm not even here, I'm traveling somewhere, living somewhere, and I'm seeing Miss Hawai'i, Miss America competition is going on, Miss USA, and you want to cheer for the person from Hawaii, right? Or a TV show, a dance show, a cooking show. You see somebody from Hawaii and you want to go support them, right? Mm-hmm. And then you want to go do a DNA test to see if you're related to them if they win, right? So you can get part of that prize money.
There we go.
But it's so amazing how much community matters to us, whether that's blood or not.
Yeah, it's my prayer that we are always that way.
Yeah, I think so. I especially with social media, I feel like within the last couple of years, it's you see it so much, and it's easy, it's accessible because you just share something and everybody sees it within minutes to hours. So I think with that, using social media as a tool, leveraging it to show the good and even like the real stuff, not so good parts sometimes.
Right. That can connect us even more.
I think, it connects us because even the bad times, like, I don't know if you ever watched Stranger Things.
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, are you too scared? Is that why?
Maybe a little bit.
That's what Sierra says. She hasn't watched it. But one of the things that they said is shared trauma. So I feel like the bad moments, that's what really connects people, even though we all want to celebrate the highs and the victories. These tough moments where you go through together, that brings you closer than anything,
right? There's so much it feels so good to know that you're not the only person going through it, because
for sure
99% of the time if you share something that you're going through that's been really difficult, somebody in the room is going to say, me too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Did you have any moments like that during your Miss Hawai'i reign where, you touched somebody, you inspired somebody, they maybe sent you a message or came up to you in person?
Oh my gosh, people have been just an outpour of aloha this whole year. I feel so much support, from our community, from the Forever Miss Hawai'i Sisterhood that I'm now a part of. I mean, they are incredible too. It's like being in a sorority that never ends now. And of course, I just think that every single person I've met this year just feels like a blessing. Just to even, there's not a lot of moments in life where you can just leave, your job full time and like be in the community every day doing either an event or teaching in a classroom or speaking in front of a crowd or leading a leadership workshop in a high school or traveling the world. It's the most unique job and the most unique year I've ever had in my life. And I every single day I just feel like has been that experience.
Amazing. So I'm curious what the lifestyle is, because then it's a year of service once you win, and you basically just say yes to everything. You just have a million things you gotta do, events, appearances. So how do you balance everything? So wait, before that, did you have to leave your job or?
Okay, so that's the thing. So you don't have to leave your job. I decided to. My sister also took a year off and just kind of explained that you can do and say yes so much more than if you keep your full-time job, right? Like, it's difficult to go into elementary schools if you have a 9-to-5, right? And I feel very blessed that my parents have put me up for the year. But I feel like I wouldn't have had nearly as many opportunities to say yes and to actually be and serve as my in my year of service if I hadn't left my job. But they don't require it at all. Like some people work all year long, but I think it is just a little bit more restricting on your schedule.
Okay, so you're setting the bar really high for the next Miss Hawai'i, because I swear there's a new post every day of you doing something.
It has been a year of yes. And also, I think it's been a huge learning year of I've said yes pretty much to everything. And sometimes it is important to say no. You know, there has been some events where I have been there as, you know, maybe just to stand there or to like be something like a princess in a crown. And you're like, this has nothing to do with scholarship, service, serving our Hawaii community. And I think, you know, knowing my own values and knowing the values of Miss Hawai'i, it is so important to also, you know, make sure that other people's intentions are aligned with your own, and as well as the organization. So I think I've also become more firm in who I am and what I am willing to say yes to. Anything community service based, yes. Anything nonprofit based, yes. But other things maybe that aren't maybe for the greater good of Hawaii or of the organization, I'm going to have to think about that one.
Do you think that's going to change once you're finished with your reign?
No, I don't think so. It's always been a part of me. I mean, service has been a principle since I grew up.
Yeah.
My grandma on my dad's side, she actually has like lived. They've lived in an RV for like my whole life, and they travel to almost every like national park across America and like just serve as like guides there. And
wow, super cool.
Right? Like there's just certain things like that. And then all throughout high school, I was in like Key Club and different volunteer organizations. I think you really just gain so much more when you give time to others.
Yeah.
It's like so simple, right? I don't know why we don't learn, like not everybody feels that understanding or that need, but it's just a little bit amount of time that can honestly change someone else's life.
Definitely. You should join the Peace Corps. You'd be a great volunteer.
Let's go.
But that's 2-year commitment though. I don't know if you want to do that.
I'm excited to like have a year in Hawaii, right? Just
year
like,
of yes, now it's your year of rest.
Hopefully. Yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she is all about service. We're carrying these new couches. What are these sofa? What do you call a single chair?
I don't know.
Seats. These.
This is a couch. I call it couch.
Single couch seats. Yeah, we just got it from Costco an hour ago, and Lauren helped us.
I got 2 arms. I got 2 legs. Let's go.
Nice. Yeah, so we appreciate that, and all the stuff that you're doing. It's so amazing. But we'll talk a little bit about that because we have some questions from our audience about Miss Hawai'i. So we'll take a quick shishi break, and we'll be right back.
All right.
Support for this episode comes from Hawaiiverse.com. Hawaiiverse is an online marketplace with locally sourced products so you can go and support local businesses. Before I go to Amazon or any big box stores, I always check Hawaiiverse.com first if I need a gift for a friend, family member, or even myself. So make sure you check out Hawaiiverse.com, our island universe, and your one-stop shop for everything local. Make sure you use code KIA10 to save 10% off of your next order. All right, we're back from a quick shishi break. Shout out to our sponsor, Shaka Tea, for providing the best momaki tea. Herbal, no sugar, no calories, 0 everything, but 100% ono.
True.
All right, so let's get into Instagram questions presented by Shaka Tea, okay? First question comes from Justine M _. This person asked, who is your best friend?
That's hilarious.
I feel like I couldn't not include this one because I'm guessing that is your best friend. So
I love Justine. Shout out to her. Yeah, I think it takes a special type of person to stick around somebody during a turbulent year like this. I think, having a friend that when you cancel like 2 seconds before you have a date and I'm just like, I'm so sorry. But one thing that I love is that, when we are together, it never feels, if it's been like 3 weeks, if it's been like 2 days, it always just feels like so special. And it's something I never really had growing up, like a super solid girl-based support. I think, again, like what I talked about with women, it's kind of challenging to feel like you should uplift one another when there's that competitive energy. But with her and our relationship, it's always been like solid.
Nice. How long have you been friends?
Like over a year, but
Nice.
not super long. Like right when I moved back to Hawaii after college. Yeah.
Kind of had to refine your friend group.
Kind
and
of,
find the person in your community.
A lot of my classmates aren't here anymore. In Hawaii.
That happens.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's something that I forgot to go a little bit more into about your social life. Like, how did you balance everything? Not necessarily like dating life, but just like family, friends, whatever. Like all like the stuff that you love to do.
I mean, Sunday night is pretty much hard, like family dinner every Sunday night. Keep it really traditional. My dad goes to Chinatown every Sunday in the morning. He buys a whole fish and then steams it for dinner. And that's like our family quality time. So that one is a hard no for the most part. Of course, you know, there's some exceptions. My best friends, it's really like as much as possible, squeeze it in. Like Justine and I maybe go to yoga. I have another best friend, Emily. She's like in a lot of shows, so I try to go to her shows. She comes to mine. Maybe we'll like pauhana after work or something. But it honestly, I think my job or my life as Miss Hawai'i has taken priority this year, and the real ones like have been fully supportive of that.
Nice.
Yeah.
And your job as Miss Hawai'i is very social anyway, so you get a lot of that, you know, socialness out there, and you get to expend your energy.
And sometimes I get to bring like a +1 or something, so I can bring girlfriends with me. Yeah,
awesome. Super cool. Next question comes from crazy_cousin with a K. If you could go back in time, what would you tell your 10-year-old self?
I think it would be care less, like just be you. I was a really funky kid. I would like wear like at least like 20 pins in my hair and like make it like this little doopsies and like curl it like this all over my head. Strange.
That
and
sounds
like
cool to me.
And just like dress super funky, like different color tutu every day. And I think at some point, like I started to get known as like the kind of weird, funky kid that dressed strange. And I definitely stopped like dressing as weird and try to kind of like maybe dimmed myself a little bit throughout. I think everyone kind of struggles throughout middle school and even throughout high school. You just kind of want to feel like a part of a community, even though there might not be an obvious community directly in front of you with like your classmates who you spend most of your days with, right? You're at school all the time. But for me, I think when I was 10 years old, I would love to say, just be you, you know, it's gonna come out in your crowd will find you wherever you are. And I ended up being just really close friends with my teachers. Like I had a bunch of my high school teachers come to my 21st birthday party. Like I don't know. I just have always connected with people based off of like the heart. And so maybe that hasn't always been the obvious, like what's right in front of you, like classmates. But it's been people, and I've always been able to find those people.
Awesome. Beautiful answer.
Thanks.
Next question comes from Brittany Caitlin. She wants to know, she's also competing, right? She's going to be competing soon.
Yes, Brittany.
So good luck to you.
That's her.
Top 3 favorite moments during your time as Miss Hawai'i?
Oh, gosh. I think number 1 is anytime I'm in a classroom. So, I mean, I've made it to almost every island. So in Kauai, on the Big Islands, on Molokai, here on Oʻahu. It's just felt electrifying. There's something about working with kids and in such a creative space that lights me up. There's like no greater feeling. And especially sometimes like, I don't think they even know who Miss Hawai'i is, but they're like, wow, like she's got a crown on. And I always get the question, is it real? Is it real diamonds? I'm like, yeah, it is. It's totally real.
That's funny.
So that hands down gets top pick. I think also, you know, traveling to Japan just recently was such a high because it's such a strong tie that Hawaii has with Japanese culture. And I've, been to Japan. So being able to travel to Japan as Miss Hawai'i was such a blessing. And I'm very grateful to my friends, Aloha, Ukulele. Thank you so much for bringing me along with you all.
Nice.
To dance hula and share culture, represent Hawaii in their surf town, Chigasaki. It was so special. That was a huge bucket list that I always wanted to do. And of course, I can't leave out Miss America. That was an incredible experience to stand on the Miss America stage and perform in front of so many people from across our country and connect with girls from all over as well. I think it's very difficult to name a moment in your life where you're standing in a room with somebody from every single state in America.
Yeah,
that never happens.
Cool.
Unless maybe you're a politician.
Yeah,
that happens if you're a politician. But how wonderful, and connecting with people from everywhere and girls that know exactly what you're going through has been also super valuable. So Miss Texas, Miss Arkansas, and Miss South Carolina actually came here to Hawaii to visit. I think it was in maybe January and February, and that's just part of another sisterhood that I'll always be connected and tied to. And you're right, social media is a great way to keep in touch on what everyone's up to. So I look forward to traveling all across the country after this year.
Yeah, you got to borrow your grandparents' RV.
There we go. Road trip.
Yeah. And then she has a follow-up question. What's your most challenging situation this year during the rain?
Challenging. I think it is stamina in a way, right? There's some moments where you're giving so much energy to other people, whether you're speaking in front of a big audience or if you're in front of 800 elementary school students. There's just so much energy to give that sometimes I've noticed going home and I'd be wow, I got 3 hours of sleep last night, or I haven't really recharged myself much. So I think there is a balance in also reminding yourself that it is okay to maybe take a day to yourself. Even though there's a huge desire to always want to say yes, there is a lot of power, I think, also in knowing yourself and that you will be better if you just take this one day off.
Definitely.
So I learned that maybe after Miss America. I was like, okay, I'll take a little rest.
Do you take naps? Are you a napper?
I am a nap. Are you a napper?
No, my kind of naps is I keep going. And if I just end up passing out somewhere, then that's my nap. Or sometimes I'll lie down for 3 to 5 minutes and I'll get up and that was a great nap.
Whoa.
It's just
that is kind of superhuman energy,
for me,
though.
it's I just need to rest. I don't need to.
You sleep at night.
Yeah, I sleep at night. And if I'm super exhausted, I was working and I surfed and the sun really drains you, then I'll just take a nap on the floor. I'm a floor nap. I like floor naps. Just because I can just kind of be dirty and.
Yeah, this is odd. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. It's some weird things, I guess.
So what is your average sleep a night? Would you say? Do you know?
6 to 8.
6 to 8?
Yeah, okay, I don't sleep any longer than that.
Okay, that's
maybe
pretty
shorter.
Good. Yeah.
I have a hard time going to sleep early because I don't know. I'm not tired. It's hard for me. If I go sleep early, I'll just wake up
earlier. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, maybe 11, between 11 and 12, I go to sleep and then wake up around 6. But I try to stay in bed sometimes.
Yeah.
And get out of bed 7, 8. Depends.
Yeah.
I like to have my mornings to myself.
Oh,
get
absolutely.
exercise and kind of. It's hard though. Sometimes if I start working, if I start going on my laptop or my phone, then I get in the zone and it's hard for me to get back into the mindset of I have to work out because I feel I have so much to do.
Oh yeah.
So that's why and that's a life hack. Just get the workout in early.
Get it in early.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my my kind of lifestyle. But I forget what we were talking to you about. This is about you, not me.
I know. Well, I'm interested too. Maybe it's the journalist in me that's like, "What? Tell me about you."
I didn't prepare for this.
It's gonna be a one-sided conversation. We were just talking about what I do, has been challenging. I finished the question.
Oh,
Don't you worry.
Yeah, because I figured, because I've done things like when I paid off my student loans where I was just doing things every single day. And like, I mean, I still work every single day, but that was next level. And I feel like with Miss Hawai'i, you're doing so much and you feel that pressure, that societal pressure to, have a good, have a smile on your face. Not
show up without slippers and
exactly,
completely like hamajang.
Yeah, and then you have to present yourself well because you're representing.
That's been new for me. I'm not the type of girl that's always put together. Yeah. But this year has been a challenge. Sometimes I'll leave my house. My mom is like, "Really? that." And my mom hates my Birkenstocks. They're like the love of my life. They're like maybe 5 years old. And they're all discolored and super used. But I will hold on to them for as long as they'll hold on to me.
So what is your coping mechanism? Like when you're feeling burnt out, like what do you do to recharge?
I think the ocean, huge for me. Just a little. I like floating. Yeah. Strange. I'm like not a very good swimmer. We talked about sports.
Do you surf?
No, I'm like not talented in sports. I would love to learn how to surf better though. I've gone out a few times and really enjoyed it. I'm a little. I was always taught to be very afraid of the ocean and respect it in a way where it was like, don't even go in, never turn your back. That was what my mom would always say. So I've always been a little fearful. So when I go to the ocean, it's always just like nice in the shallows, just floating. Yeah. So that's huge for me. Yoga is huge for me. As you know, I love yoga, and I love to sweat too, like physically just drip. So. Yeah. The heat.
It does something to you. Exercise and what are they? What's the word? The scientific word? The dopamine. That's not the word.
Dopamine.
Dopamine. Fair. I want to say like my first thought was hormones.
No.
That
That's
was not
completely
it.
Different.
Pheromones or something like that.
No. That's completely different.
Ovulation.
No.
Am I going off?
You're going into like the sexual realm, which is not.
I'm just thinking of scientific. I'm trying to think of scientific stuff. It's just exercise.
Your dopamine
exercise is good and it's dope.
There we go.
I mean, it's dope.
You heard it right here on the Keep It Aloha podcast.
Let's get to the next question before I get canceled. Next question comes from Bronson Nishimura and Tablepop Creations. Both of them wanted to know, will she enter Miss Hawai'i USA?
Oh, like a different system.
Yeah.
I have gotten that question this year. It's not in my like current sight of what I'm planning to do in the future. Like right now, I really want to focus on my new job and just kind of settle back into normal life. And it is kind of life altering. I mean, like I mentioned, I quit my job, you're traveling. It's an incredible, year, but it's also a huge sacrifice for yourself, for your family, for your friends. So I feel like I'm not in a position to do that right now, but they have an age limit of, I think, 28. So I don't know. My heart is a Miss Hawai'i America side forever.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no pressure. And congrats on the new position. It's with the news, right?
Yes. Yeah. I'm working at Hawaii News now, and I swear it's been like a dream of mine since I was a little kid. I've always loved the station for one. I think, it's always just like all the local people, like all the local celebrities, right? Just like people I grew up watching and loving, like Guy Hockey and Kiahi and Stephanie. And I've learned to love Ash, now that I get to like actually know these people in real life. They're not just like on the screen.
Yeah. First name basis, this girl. Guy.
No, not at all. But they're that down to earth, though. That's what I mean. Like they would never have me call them by their last name. And throughout college, I interned at the station. So I'd be like behind the news desk, like looking up and like seeing everybody come to work, and it felt just so exciting. And then I interned again. So after I graduated college, right, it was like kind of pandemic time, right? And I was like, do you have a job? Like, they're like, no, not really. And so I was like, okay, I'll just intern again. But I feel like year after year, I kind of just showed that like I love it here. I love the people. I love the station. I love the place. And it's crazy because this year, Katie, who now, you know, kind of oversees the station, it used to be Rick Langiardi, but now it's Katie Pickman. We'd had a meeting and she was like, you know, like, where do you see yourself? And I was like, well, I'd really love to see myself here. And I always worked in news. Like I worked at Honolulu Civil Beat before. I had worked in newspaper when I was in Wyoming. But I also have always been very attracted to the lifestyle side of things, right? Like the storytelling, the heart of our community, local businesses, local restaurants, local designers, like all of that has always been so appealing to me. So she was like, you know, what would you think of being a lifestyle, you know, video journalist and interviewing people and connecting with local businesses and telling their stories to promote our, you know, Hawaii to the rest of our audience, our international audience, our local audience. And I was like, I honestly had to take a breath. Like I didn't want to seem too excited.
I was holding my breath the whole time you're telling that story.
Right? I like felt like I couldn't. I was sitting in the chair and I was like, did you read my diary? This has been my dream job.
That's amazing.
I could not believe it. It was. I was almost like crying because it was just such an exciting opportunity. And so I'm very, 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 very blessed and very excited to step into my new role after Miss Hawai'i because it's been something that I've always wanted to do. Like I loved working in news, but I also felt like you can't control the story, right? A lot of it, unfortunately, has to be around things that aren't so great happening in our community and are difficult to talk about. And I think there's value in, you know, like I reported on the insurrection that happened at the Capitol. I reported on some really difficult and challenging things. But now that I have this extra area of creativity to work with local people, local businesses, I just feel like even more excited. It's just like a dream job. So I'm stoked.
Awesome. Well, it's well deserved.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so are you going to get your own segment or?
So it's a unique role. So it's kind of tied into like what they have now, which is Hi Now with Kainoa and Rachel. But it's also going to be kind of woven into news. So they're thinking like we're working on it as we speak, honestly, just because it is a new role, brand new role. They've never had it at Hawaii News Now yet. So like 30 seconds to a minute long, that's woven in between news. So, you know, the news break, that might be happening in the morning or the afternoon or the late night show. So
can't wait to see it.
It's creative. Yeah. It's creative. It's ever flowing.
You gonna be dancing?
I'm gonna be, who knows what I'll be doing. I'll be running around our island. I'll be, you know, working alongside
people. And she literally means probably running around.
Probably
so much
energy. But it's going to be a very collaborative process, which is also very exciting. Like depending on the needs of the local business, say they're wanting to reach more local people, right? Like we have a completely local station for that. Or if they're wanting to reach out to people in Japan because there haven't been a lot of international traction, there's a whole other space for that. So just like you, I'm going to be in a very creative, organic space, and I cannot wait.
Welcome to the life.
Yes,
you probably have a little bit more resources though with Hawaii News Now, which is nice. You don't have to go to Costco and grab some furniture an hour before the podcast starts.
You never know. You know?
Yeah, stay on your toes. Okay, last question comes from Finn_catcher. He wants to know, what does aloha mean to you?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah,
I think aloha has always just meant like the love and respect for anyone, regardless of where they come from, what their background is, like who it is just having that initial love and respect and showing that forth. Like, that's how I feel when somebody shows their aloha to me. They don't know who I am. They don't know where I come from. They don't know anything, but they just embrace. And that's our culture. That's Hawaii. That's everything. So that'd be my definition.
Oh, awesome. It's a great Miss Hawai'i answer.
Oh, did I smash it?
You move on to the next round.
Oh, I made it.
Yeah.
I feel like I should Miss Hawai'i question you.
Yeah, well,
we'll do another segment.
Yeah. Well, let's end this one. Mahalo everybody for the Instagram questions. Make sure you leave some for our next guest. Maybe your question, we'll make it on the podcast. And remember to be the aloha you wish to see in the world, just like our sponsor, Shakati.
Chi.
Yeah. So we're coming to the back half of the podcast, and this is kind of a follow-up question to the what does aloha mean to you? I like to ask my guests this: what does keeping it aloha mean to you? Because that's the name of the podcast. And like, how do you keep it aloha? If you're able to expand on what you just said, because you kind of already answered it.
Right. Keep it aloha. I mean, it's hard because I feel like you could interpret this in many different ways. Like, keep it aloha. I think you could go back to like ancestry and think about how everything is generational. And at the end of the day, we're all intertwined and connected. And that's why you need to show everyone with that love and respect from the beginning, because at the end of the day, we all come from, one. That could be keep it aloha. Also, keep it aloha could be like, hey, don't be mean. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's keep it aloha. Let's be kind to one another. It could be very simple messaging and thinking about how, when you interact with other people, just start off with a kind start, an open start. We look, you might look completely different from the person across the way, but remind yourself to start off on the foot of aloha. And if they are not aloha, then you don't have to be. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and then you bust out
then you scrap.
Yeah, you take off the crown, take off the earrings, everything.
Yeah, the heels come off. The tita bun goes up.
The karate comes out. Yeah, all of that. Okay, well, yeah, another great answer. Okay, so what do you hope to accomplish in life? What is your main goal?
I mean, I think it's to make my family proud.
I'm sure
that literally came out like Mulan. Like,
did you? Where's a bowl of water so she can look down into her reflection?
I know. The way it came out, I was like, oh, is she the Disney princess Mulan? But it, in a way, right? Like, I just hope that what I do, that I say, everything that I am feels like a good representation of, where we come from. I think that's very Hawaii, very traditional feeling. But yeah, even, with friends, with, past partners, I feel like I've always needed my family to approve, like my job, my school, my passions. Like, I just want them to love it, which is honestly kind of a bit of a fault in a way, because you don't always have to be pleasing people. At the end of the day, I have to remind myself, like, I'm the only one living this life, right? I'm the only person in this body, in this moment in time, in this brain that never stops screaming things, and so I think it is that constant battle. Like, of course, I always want to make everyone proud, but also I've had to learn as I grow up to listen to my heart, my head and my heart.
Nice.
Yeah, at the same time. I don't know. How about you?
Yeah, I think, seeking that external validation is an innate thing. We always want people to approve. We always treat people as soundboards. It's like, oh, should I get this couch? Or
right.
should I drink this mango hibiscus? Or should I drink the passion orange guava?
Right.
We're always just trying to seek approval or just affirmation from others, right?
Right.
And I think that's just from not being sure in what we want or what is accepted in life. For me, I'm 30. I'm old now.
Stop! That's gonna get you canceled right there.
No, I just feel like at this point in my life, I know exactly what I want. I know who I am, so I don't really care to seek the approval of others. I mean, for business wise, you know, you obviously I want people to like what I'm doing, and luckily they do. You know, I get a lot of great messages and people telling me and coming up to me saying they love the podcast and love what I'm doing, and it feels great when people tell you that. It's amazing, but like you don't need it, you know, because even if somebody says like, "Oh, I don't like what you're doing," or they comment something on a clip that you don't agree with. Yeah. I'm just like, I don't care. Like, that's good. That's just one opinion, and it's probably not even true. And, you know, it's just a hater, you know?
Yeah. And I think that sense of self, that ability to just be who you are unapologetically, like I told my 10-year-old self, I think I'm still telling myself that every day. Just, you know, be you and deal with it.
Yeah. And people are going to like it or they're not going to like it. I mean, if you like nunchucks like I do and you swing it around and you want to make jokes all the time and, you know, have a Saints water bottle because you love football and fantasy football, and on Sundays you pretend like you don't even have a girlfriend because you're watching men tackle each other all day long and accumulate fake fantasy points. Like then do you that if that makes you happy, do it, and that's what makes me happy. So like I'm not gonna change who I am for nobody.
Yeah.
So that's one of the biggest things I've learned in life is just do whatever makes you happy. Yeah, and that's what I'm constantly learning and reminding myself of.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is a question you wish I asked?
Gosh, I feel like we've hit so many things. I think one thing that you didn't ask about is my little sister, because I think I talked a lot about growing up, which she wasn't born yet, so she wasn't a part of my like childhood, but she's 12 years younger than me, so she's
I didn't even know that.
So here we go talking about her. She's gonna love this.
Okay.
She loves it when I talk about her. But so my sister right now, she's exactly 12 years younger than me, so we're both the year of the tiger in like Chinese.
Okay.
I don't even know if you call it astrology or whatever you call it.
And what, you're 24 right now?
So I am, yes.
So 24. She's half of you right now.
Yes. And I think that sometimes, you know, in life, the different things come your way, but I definitely believe that she's like our family's biggest blessing. Like she's allowed us to like relive so many things from childhood that you just wouldn't have, you know, really done. Like things like she just cooks all the time, and she's like dancing, and I get to watch her go from like, you know, the very little pink ballerina leotard to now she's like all grown up in purple and blue and she's starting point. And in many ways, like I feel she's like my little sister, but in a lot of ways I also feel like she's my own. You know, I watched her grow up. And I think that is so special. And, you know, when we talk about the next generation of Hawaii, when we talk about Aloha, all these things, that I pray that the community and the togetherness is always there, because I think of her and even younger than her, right? Like I just want the beautiful life of culture and experience. I never want that to go away. And I hope it doesn't.
For sure. Yeah. I don't think it will. I mean, as long as you surround yourself with the right people.
Exactly. Yeah. And our community is just the best.
Yeah, it's the best.
I know.
Yeah. So I didn't know you had a younger sister. I guess I didn't do I usually pride myself in my research, but I guess I missed that one.
Yeah, so 3 sisters, 2 older.
That's why you said it in the beginning. I didn't understand what you meant by that.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of clarify that, because I felt like it came out a little confusing.
Yeah.
So there's 4 of us total.
Oh, okay.
There's our oldest, then Kat, then who was the Miss Hawai'i, and then there's me, and then Anya.
So Anya is going to be the 3rd Miss Hawai'i sister, so you're going to be the first set of 3 sisters.
No pressure, Anya.
Yeah, no pressure, but you better start tapping them toes and waving.
Don't worry, she's ahead of the game. She's ready.
She's good. She good. What's the age limit to compete? 18
for Miss Hawai'i? 18 to 28. They just raised it this year. So
and then teen, what is like 14 to 16 or 14 to 17 or something?
Maybe it's like even 14 to 8 or 17, or 13.
17.
I'm not too sure.
Yeah. Were you Miss Teen Hawaii? You were, right?
I wasn't the outstanding teen. So I was the USA. I'm going to confuse you
okay.
again.
Okay, this is a question I have too. Okay, so let me sit up for this.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. This pill is like a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, I'm just going to cuddle with it.
Cuddle it.
Okay, why are there so many Miss blanks? There's Miss Hawai'i, Miss Outstanding Teen, Miss Kona Coffee, Miss Lions Coffee, Miss Outstanding Teen 3rd grade with blonde hair, Miss Hawaii, USA, California, whose uncle moved to Hawaii is actually from Kailua. Miss, like, there's so many Miss
so
everything.
Many. Yeah.
And I noticed them in the parades. Like, when we saw you at Hilo in the parade, there's Miss everything. Miss Shining Sparkler, whatever. Like, why are there so many?
So I honestly don't know why there are so many, but maybe I think it's to spread the wealth. You know, when you look at Miss America, Miss USA, which you know, people might argue or have said, I've heard other people say that those are kind of like the two bigger competitions.
Yeah.
That, you know, only one girl wins and then only one girl represents the state. So I think maybe other competitions have emerged so that, you know, there's other opportunities out there. The other thing that I heard you mention, like Kona Coffee, there's also preliminary competitions for the larger competition. So like you'd have to win Miss Kona Coffee in order to compete for Miss Hawai'i. You have to win like Miss Chinatown in order to compete.
Kahala,
whatever. Yes. So there's
Garden
preliminary
Isle.
competitions in order to compete, just like sports, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to pass the first level in order to get to the next level and then to the next level. But yeah, I will say though, the Miss America is like organization is the very first pageant in history in our country. I'm not going to say it's number one, but it was the first.
Well, you can say if you think it's the best, you can, because I recently changed our Instagram bio to the #1 podcast in Hawaii, according to Kamaka Diaz's mom.
There we go.
So you just gotta phrase it a little differently.
I know that my mom would say that it's the #1 pageant. So
it's the #1 in somebody's eyes.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, so it's semantics. That's all,
exactly.
That's all that matters. Yeah. So what are you looking forward to the most after you give up your crown?
I will rest. I know that. I actually told
Vacation.
my boss, I was like, I'm going to start, a week after just to like settle in, get some sleep in, and like kind of come back to earth in a way. Like I feel like this whole year has been just on cloud 9, right? Like it is just so much fun. And every girl has a different year. Like the Miss Hawaiʻis have told me that, some girls have amazing years. Other girls can't wait to get it over with. But I feel like this year has just been the best. I have a very difficult time finding things that I didn't like about it, because even if it wasn't the best, greatest event or the greatest, speech I ever gave, it was a learning experience and a challenge for myself. So yeah, I have a very difficult time thinking of anything that wasn't truly incredible about this year.
So by the time this comes out, the current Miss Hawai'i will be crowned 2023. What is some advice that you want to give her if she's watching this right now?
Okay. I think
say who you think's gonna win.
No, they have so many amazing girls competing this year. It's so hard. I think the #1 advice is don't be afraid to ask, and always to your capability say yes. I think those are the two things that go hand in hand. There's so many people that want to help support you in your year, especially, she's going to have a different mission for her year to carry on, or it might be the same, who knows. But, usually, right, the mission of the individual girl, it's very personal. So don't be afraid to ask people for help to, you know, for me, I really wanted to travel to almost every island this year so that I could reach keiki in all different schools. I had to ask for help, right? Like I needed support and like luckily, thank you Hawaiian Airlines, plug, for the support this year. But I think asking is the number one thing like you can't ever go wrong with. And then also giving, right? For those who receive so much, you should give as much as you possibly can. So it might be tiring, you know, but it's worth it to say yes to help others, because that's what the year is all about, service to others.
Definitely. So before you give up your crown, can I ask you for like $50? Can you say yes?
I mean,
to that?
if you really need it.
I don't, but I was trying to take advantage of the situation.
It's
Opportunity.
It's a year of service. I have no money.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Trust me, I know that. I volunteered for 2 years.
I know. I've like literally been surviving off of my savings, like dwindled this whole year.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why I can't wait to get to work.
All right. Yeah. Hopefully Hawaii News Now replenishes
There we
that.
go. Let's go.
Yeah. Okay. So what out of all these things that you've done, and you know, you're going to accomplish a lot more. Like, as of right now, what are you most proud of?
I think I'm most proud of, like, my ability to connect with so many people this year. Like, I feel like I've finally found a great group of friends. I feel very close to my ohana. I feel very excited to connect even more with the community. And so I think that would be my, like, on a broad basis, like what I feel very proud of is just my like year to be able to meet so many different people from so many different backgrounds. And then on a less serious note, I also think that I've maybe been able to get more people out of their seats and dancing this year than ever before. Even like, you know, sophomore, freshman, high schoolers that are like, definitely got them to dance.
If you can get me out of my seat dancing, then that's an accomplishment, because I don't dance.
I'm pretty sure I've seen you dance in yoga class.
That was the punches that we had to do. But I am planning a podcast party with all the past guests, so maybe you can lead a dance session.
Can't wait.
That, yeah.
I'll start stretching.
Yeah, or a yoga class. Yeah. So before we start wrapping up, because we got a couple more minutes, and then I'll let you go. I wanted to ask about you being an Asian American, but also, you know, having different facets of Hawaiian culture in your life and like local culture to Hawaii within your life. I mean, you dance hula. Yeah, I think you perform some places, right?
Yeah, so I dance with Kelly Boy.
Yeah, Halekulani.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
that's what I was thinking. Yeah, so that's why you know him.
Yeah, and Kapena, his like Lilo, his wife, everyone, they're so, like the best family ever.
Yeah. Were you ever confused with like your identity or the culture that you know you should be promoting? You know, in one sense you grew up with Japanese culture, but the local culture is here like Hawaiian, and you ever felt like, oh, do I have to like be more Japanese, or at times like, oh, I should be more local so people think I'm local, you know?
Yeah.
You ever go through those struggles?
I think that it always seemed like one, and maybe it was my inability to be super aware. It's just because always the people in Hawaii everyone's so accepting that I very rarely felt like I was out of place, even though I didn't maybe have the traditional Hawaiian upbringing or even, you know, representing Hawaii on a national stage or even internationally. I've always felt very supported from our community. Maybe the only instance is, you know, being on the mainland. And then people are like, so what are you? And I'm like, well, Japanese, Okinawan, Chinese, Korean, Romanian, English, German, Hawaiian. Like, and they're like, whoa. They're like, I'm Holly.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
okay.
Yeah.
But other than that, I feel like not so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I
I think
that's cool.
What I hope is that maybe this is like what what Hawaii is, maybe it's the future for everybody else needs to catch up.
For
right?
sure. Yes, that's what Joji Tsukawa said. He's an Asian American YouTuber from California. He came on. He was saying he saw Hawaii or California, or the future of Hawaii was California. That's what he was hoping for. Where like we don't see like we're different. I mean, we see physically, right?
Right.
But because we have such a diverse group of people, it's like we're all kind of just one, like you said.
Right. Like you might, say one word that's pidgin and then another word that's Japanese, but all fits into one sentence and
exactly.
it's fine and everyone knows what you're talking about. So
yeah, and there's not really a competition of like who's more local, who's less local, or who's more of this, less of that. Because I feel like that sometimes in our head we get caught up in that. It's like, oh man, that person is fishing and hunting.
Yeah.
Oh, now as a man I feel insecure because I'm not doing that, or my truck isn't as lifted as that guy's truck, So there's all these like small little things that shouldn't really matter in us feeling secure in our identity, cultural identity.
Yeah. So I 100% support people, sharing their culture. You brought up like fully Japanese, you brought up fully Hawaiian, like share it. Share it with others. But as far as like myself, I feel like it's all like guju. So I just
what was that again? Guju.
I don't know. It's all mixed together. So I'm just me.
Awesome. Yeah. Never change. Okay. So we gotta rush through these last ones. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. What is something you wish people knew about you that they don't?
Gosh, I'm kind of an open book. Let's see. That one stumps me. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Something. How about you go first?
I mean, let's see. Something that I wish people knew about me that they don't.
I like to do this. Flip it.
I know. I'm sure there's a lot. I mean, I think some people know. Like I really like nunchucks.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna be boring.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm. How about I'm right-handed and that's weird in my family.
Oh, okay.
Like most of my family are all left-handed, and it kind of feels like I've always felt a little bit left out because everyone's like the lefties are the creative ones.
No pun intended.
Ooh, didn't. All right. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Honestly, yeah, I didn't know you were that big of a weirdo. You're right-handed. That's so weird.
Everyone's right-handed.
Everybody's gonna be judging you right now.
You know what? In my upbringing, though, I was the weird one.
Yeah. All good. Okay, so what is your life hack?
Life hack. Okay, I came prepared.
Okay.
So this is I brought my curls hair today because I wanted to showcase. This is done in 3 minutes with hot rollers. So I don't know why, but for some reason we evolved and decided that everybody does like the wand or like uses a straightener to curl your hair, or even there's like machines now that like wrap your hair like crazy. But I'm going to swear by hot rollers for life because it only takes like 3 minutes to put them up. So like you literally just like clip. And then you can do like your makeup, you can brush your teeth, like do everything else. And it saves at least, for me, it saves like 30 minutes.
Wow.
It's huge. Like it takes me forever.
And then you can do other things while doing it.
Listen
like
to a podcast.
Yeah.
You can make your coffee.
Yeah.
You're not standing in front of a mirror doing your hair for forever.
It's a good one.
So that one's for ladies and gentlemen that like curly hair.
Yeah. I don't have long hair anymore, so I can't try that out.
You can't try it out, but
I'm sure it works.
Maybe next time.
Yeah. I'll grow it out again.
Grow it out again.
Okay.
I think Sierra would be sad.
She doesn't want me to do that.
Yeah.
I think it's out of jealousy because I had some nice hair.
Ooh.
I think it was a lot more the facial hair. I don't know if you ever seen old pictures of me, but I had like in Madagascar, I grew everything out for 2 years. So
oh, wow.
I was like scraggly, and I don't grow like really good facial hair.
I think it's a solid move.
Yeah. Well, I'll never do it again. All right. This is the last fast fave 5 questions, so just rapid fire answers, okay? Favorite travel snack?
Oh, lumpini beans.
What is that?
And baby food.
Wait, what? Is it?
Lumpini beans are like these beans that come cooked, and they're like delicious. They're kind of like vinegary and salty.
Okay.
And I always pack lots of baby food, and
like
I sip it on the plane. Yep.
Or like the applesauce?
Not Gerber.
Like the applesauce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not applesauce.
Okay.
Like peas and carrots and broccoli.
I never heard of that. It's interesting. But no judgment.
Yeah, no judgment.
Yeah. Favorite childhood memory?
Oh gosh, we had this plumeria tree in our yard growing up, and I used to climb it with my sisters and play games all day long. So I miss that tree. Got torn down.
Oh,
I know.
Do you pick one every time you walk?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Any flower I
Nice.
pass, I'm like, ooh, there we go.
Awesome. Favorite book?
Oh gosh, this is kind of a sad one, but I love The Last Lecture by Randy Pausch.
Never heard of that.
Oh, it's an easy
look it
read.
up.
You would love it. Yeah.
Okay.
Because you said you didn't
Lecture.
like reading, so it's an easy read.
Yeah. Okay. Picture books are good.
Oh, it's not a picture book.
I've become more of a reader in the last couple of years. but
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to find the time now. Favorite dessert? Oh, is that the hardest question I've asked
This
today?
is the hardest one you've asked all day. I mean, one? This is just cruel.
Oh, I thought one was like the name of it.
No. Just one dessert.
A couple that come to you.
Okay. So I love coconut everything. So
Yeah,
anything
it's nice.
coconut is
Coffee,
gonna
yeah.
like it's gonna like awesome.
Yeah.
I love dark chocolate, but it must be dark. So anything dark chocolate. And then I also have this like really big tie to like lemon bars. I don't know why. I think it's because my favorite color is yellow.
Oh,
so
nice.
from like baby days,
Nice.
I just loved lemon bars.
That matches your energy. I feel like yellow's happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and butter mochi.
Nice. Butter mochi's good. Put some coconut milk
Yes,
inside that.
there we go. It's all there.
Yeah.
Lots of butter. I also love butter. Just straight
Nice.
up butter.
Just straight butter. Just
Yeah,
eating
I
it.
used to eat straight butter. I sometimes still do, and I used to also eat sugar straight from the jar. I think
This
that's
is
what's.
something that you don't know about her that you do now.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's a little odd. You're
Nice.
right.
I thought I had a sweet tooth, but
It's extreme.
we're in competition right now.
I know.
Yeah.
Who
had the most cavities?
Right? Oh, okay. I had 11 at one time.
I've had a bunch.
11 in one visit.
I don't know if I had 11 in
My
one
dad's
visit.
a dentist.
That's cool.
It's awful.
It's always that always happens. The dentist kids that they're like
Have
the
all
cop,
the- right?
the cops kids that always get
I like
in
to
most
tell
trouble.
my dad
Yeah.
that it's because he was always too busy
Mm-hmm.
with the other kids. He just had one time he like dumbed me and he left me and came back and I wasn't numb anymore. And so he had to numb me all over again to fix
Oh.
my cavities. The worst.
Yeah.
Love you, Dad.
Okay, last one. Favorite sushi place?
Oh, on islands.
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, well, that's tough. I'm partial to Sushi Maruyama because
Oh, I've heard of it.
Chef-
Never been there.
Chef Ryuji-san had like we've literally followed him since I was a kid. Like he used to work at what's the one in Kapahulu? Like
Kozo sushi?
no.
Oh, I'm thinking of like hole in the wall.
Oh, Tukurite.
Okay.
Yeah, he used to
I've
work
been
at Tukurite, and we always go to Tukurite, and then like we followed him to a bunch of other different restaurants. Now he has another restaurant, but I can't go as much anymore because it's a lot.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm in my year of service.
there. Yeah.
So,
Couple months into Hawaii News now.
there
you
we
can
go.
Yeah.
Go back.
Yeah. Maybe they'll take you there as a bonus.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's all we have for you today.
That was fun.
Mahalo so
Thank
much for
you.
coming on. Is there anything else you want to share before we wrap up?
That I'm really grateful for my year. Like to anybody that has supported me throughout this year of Miss Hawai'i, this is going to be a tough year to be. So mahalo to our community, to my family, friends, and to you.
Yes, and
having me.
I'll see you next week at the competition.
Yeah, I know. And good luck to
good luck
all the
to,
ladies
all the
competing.
future
I
ones.
can't wait to find out who's going to
Yeah.
take it over.
Definitely, it's exciting. Where can we find you? What's your social media?
Social media is at Lauren Teruya. Very simple.
Simple.
She wasn't creative.
Yeah.
It was back in the day though, where you like could get your full name without having to compete or like put an underscore.
Yeah, that's funny.
So now you know I was part of the OG Instagram
Yeah.
era.
Were you a 90s kid?
I was, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
How many years in the 90s? 3?
2.
2? 90s were the best years of my life.
Best years.
My sister Kanoa was born in 1999, so she always says that she's a 90s kid.
She has that right,
Yeah.
and she has it. Don't take that away from her.
Yeah. Well, mahalo, Lauren, for joining us on the Keep It Aloha podcast. Spread love, be kind to one another, and mahalo for listening to us today. We have new episodes every Thursday, so make sure you follow us and leave a review. I'm your host, Kamaka, and remember to always keep it aloha.